Nice to meet you. Thanks so much for playing for me. Nice. All right. Brahms, right?
Yeah.
Very serious. Great. Great job, Collin. That was very beautiful. Thank you very much. I want to congratulate you for a really brave sound. That's what I got from your playing, and very beautiful tender moments in the middle section. I will be completely honest with you. So I actually do not have this opus in my repertoire as in performing. So I've learned it and played around with it. So, but if I were to demonstrate a couple of things, I probably will not be able to do it as well as you do. So, really great. But let's work with what we have. I guess I just want to start with kind of like an obvious question. What is a ballade?
Well, I think it tends to be like serious. I think when I hear ballades and they're kind of very like filled with emotion.
That's right. What other composers do you know who wrote ballades?
Well, I know Chopin was one of the first to like
Yeah.
use
Good for
the
you.
as like the name.
Yes, it's true. So it's almost like, well, it is like an epic tale. Actually, I don't know if you know Brahms's Opus. Trying to remember Opus 10, I believe the ballad. So one of them has such a creepy story behind it, the Edward. So it's like, I don't know if you uh, Google it up, you can read about it. So there's some sort of like drama or epic story of a battle or something going on. I'm not sure if Brahms had any stories in mind for this particular one, probably not, but it was written closer to the end of his life. So some people speculate that perhaps it's his, I don't know, thinking about the mortality and immortality. Who knows? So it could be some sort of struggle, I guess. So, do you personally have any story that you imagine when you play this?
Um,
Because you played it so convincingly. That's why I'm trying to say that you really did a great job paying attention to the dynamics. Like, you let the music unfold. So I was just curious. I was like, I wonder if he's thinking any specific.
um, I was just thinking like it was really serious, but like the mood shifts like very almost I wouldn't say abruptly, but like I just was trying to think like how the piece sounded.
That's true. What if we were to think of a character or actually, the boy before you mentioned Harry Potter, so now I'm thinking about Harry Potter. Maybe something dramatic in his story, and then how can we justify moving into such a sad and beautiful middle section? Like, what's going on there?
Um, well, I think for Brahms it was probably like his like mixed emotions or something.
Could be. Well, he dedicated to Clara Schumann, so there's always that. Yes. So, my only thing, well, actually, two things. I was thinking, what can we do to make a storytelling, and again, this is just my opinion. You can completely forget as soon as you and I say bye bye. Um, I like stories. I like to be inspired by music. I can create my own story. It doesn't have to be anything obvious, but put more personal emotion into like the slow section. So what do we do to make let's say the left hand is so beautiful, the little pattern, so it's, I don't know, it's like a water, I guess, a sense of movements there, but the right hand voicing, I mean, it's in a duet, and then yeah, kind of like a duet, right? How do we hear that so it doesn't sound just a bunch of notes and bunch of phrases? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I think so. Is it like how to like voice it?
Yeah,
Like the
voicing. Yeah. So almost imagine that it's a singer, expressing or maybe singing an aria, but it's very personal, but it's kind of like hidden, but it wants to be heard. So of course you're not going to be pounding on those notes, but I feel like you could linger a little bit more. Again, that's just my opinion. Would you feel comfortable starting with the middle section? Could we just work on the right hand there?
oh, just right hand?
Sure. And I apologize that the screen is a bit small and it's dark. So if I comment on something and you're not doing it, completely ignore it. It's just I can't see very well. So, but go ahead. Let's just try maybe the right hand by itself. Okay. That's beautiful. I will just also stop you for the time's sake. Are you using a pedal right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that one of my dearest teachers did to me that like to torture his students, he said, play everything without pedal and practice without pedal. If your fingers can do it, great. Add the pedal as like, I don't know, a cherry on top of ice cream. So it may be kind of challenging, but let's just experiment. So foot off the pedal. And what do we need to do to really project? Again, I may butcher it a little bit. I would have to figure out a better fingering there, but could you try? Lead with your with your arm. Uh-huh. Yes. What do you think about that little trick?
With the arm?
Mm-hmm. Are you actually playing even without the pedal as a practice?
Oh, well, it's always like when I try to do it, it's like sometimes it's frustrating because like I'm used to doing it with a pedal and then
Right. And so, oh, the like I don't know, the carpet was removed underneath my bench or something. Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable, but this is a good way to practice. Another, again, this is just an idea. Try linger on the top note. Again, the way I see you, it looks like you're leaning away. Now this may feel like an artistic thing, like, oh, we want to feel the music. Don't feel it so much from your body. Show us it more with the sound. So when you linger on the top note, can you just, as a practice, let go of the thumb and just, I guess you can say, rest on the top part of the hand, and imagine that the thumb is completely separated from your hand. So these fingers and the thumb is its own character. Loosen it up. Could you try that? Yes. Super. One last thing, again, from where I'm sitting, looks like your arm kind of wants to bob up and down a little too much. Do you do that quite a bit?
I think so.
Okay, again, it may feel like we are relaxing, but what if we were to just quiet the upper arm altogether? Put your arms on your lap for me for a second. Yes, lean forward kind of bit. Imagine that you're like a horseback rider. Yeah, there you go. Now, just bring your arm up to the piano and let that weight, yeah, carry on the finger. Good. So play the first note and don't go like this with your wrist. Don't lift. So it's like dead arm. Again, I don't expect it from first try. It's tricky. Try it. Good. Relax your wrist a little bit more. Yes. Move your arm slightly out. Yeah, there you go. Pretend you're an eagle. Eagles have wings, they flop. Good. And a little lower. So again, don't lift too much. Yes. So again, we're not going to bore everybody, but that's one way you may consider to practice to bring out the melody more. Yes, and there are a couple of things I circled after measure 57, where it gets a little murky and a lot of suspension. So I'm thinking. Can you again be careful with the pedal, because when you performed it, I couldn't hear the change between those patterns. It was just like more of like one color. Could you maybe enjoy them a little bit more? I don't know really how, like more this one, maybe less this one. So we hear again clarity. Yeah, and this again, in my opinion, because you have a crescendo, maybe you could shape it more. Sorry, one and two, yes, thank you. So maybe let's try that from 63 once. Yeah, and again, maybe you could go more towards the more singing, like you're really trying to sing with the music. Yeah, yeah. Do you play a lot of Bach?
I played some.
Let's say yes.
Yeah, I played.
Okay, what Bachs have you played?
I've only played the inventions and maybe like a couple of minuets when I was little.
Younger, right? Good for you. How many inventions have you? Have you done symphonias?
No, not.
Okay, symphonias are more hard, much harder because it's like three voice, right? What is ultimately the goal, like us as piano players? What do we want to, or learn to go through? I guess like little preludes, the two-part inventions, the symphonias, and ultimately we want to play what? It's okay if you don't.
Well, evenly.
That's true. The well-tempered clavier, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm thinking fugues in general. So I assume you didn't play a fugue before?
No.
Okay. This
Like
is
hand separation, like, because I know it's like 4 parts or something.
it could be, that's right, but like here again, because Bach, let's call him the great father of classical music, so everybody learned from him. So in little elements like that, in my opinion, it's very Bachian, I guess you can say. So you have two voices, middle voice and the top voice. So they're having a conversation, you know. But if we're not voicing it, sometimes it could become kind of mushy and a little too backgroundy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. What else was I going to say? Could you actually maybe start it for me one more time? Now you warmed up. Yes, and just one thing, as you start, be careful that you don't lean away from the piano. So put yourself, I don't know, do you have a bench, an adjustable bench, or what are you sitting on? Huh?
Adjustable bench.
Adjustable bench, great. Is this as high as it can go?
No, it can go a lot higher.
Okay. Again, I can't really see, so I don't want to give you wrong information, but you could consider going up just a little bit so your belly button is at the white keys, and just so your elbows are slightly higher than the piano keys, just a tiny bit. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. And don't lean away. Woo! So let's try that one more time. Yes, great job. One thing at the very beginning, do you at all feel tense? Do you feel like when you start?
Yeah.
Boy, tensions, like if it could disappear, everything would be magical. Yeah, it's hard. Again, anything I'd say right now, take it or leave it, but you may want to consider just to practice it. Sometimes what it helps, just even mentally release the tension. Again, I'm gonna butcher it. So we are landing on a strong chord, but I'm mentally thinking, relax, let that energy flow out rather than and then go. That will not help much. Could you maybe try it in slow tempo? And you know what? I do think you're singing a bit too low. Can we crank it up a little higher?
Okay.
Yeah. And if your teacher says not to, you listen to your teacher. So a little higher for me. Yes. It's getting there. Maybe a little bit more. Does it feel weird?
Uh, a bit. Not
A
really
bit.
though.
The reason why we want our elbows be above the keyboard is to, again, we're talking about free arm. The energy gotta flow to the fingertips. So one way to think about our arm being like a hose. So like when you water flowers in the garden, for example, what happens when you step on the hose?
Um,
Like you water, 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 whoop, somebody stepped on it. What's gonna happen?
uh,
Yeah, the water flow stops, right? So imagine that this tension is what kind of stops the sound from flowing. So even if you sit higher, it already can float freely. So I don't know. Just try. Last, keep breathing. Keep breathing. Let's take a big breath. Yes, good. I mean, from what I heard, it sounded already much better. So, again, keep working on your voicing. So, in measure 10, when it picks into measure 11, where do the top notes, the little melody notes, go? The little pickups. Let's see. G, A flat, B flat. What are they doing?
like where's the phrase going to?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Because they're pickups, right? Pickups are not accented.
I think they're probably going to the B flat.
Yes. So one thing you may consider, again, as a practice, could you sing it? So when you get there, just think a melody. So instead of
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like doing the opposite. Would you feel comfortable singing in public?
Not really.
Okay, then under your breath. Like as quiet as you can feel comfortable with.
Okay.
So play and sing. Yes. Okay, this time I felt like I heard it better. But then you've got another thing you may agree or disagree. In music, when a composer writes patterns and he repeats them many times, do we want to play them all the same?
No.
I don't think, unless it's like minimalist music, right? Then you better practice keeping them the same, but not in Brahms. So maybe, again, my opinion, think like tiny bit crescendo. So the first one is piano, a little bit more, and then as you get higher to that C, something needs to happen, so it's not the same. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
And then
I was trying to like go loud on the first one and then like softer on the second one for each one.
Okay, that's good. Um, let's try that. Maybe don't think loud, but more supported, more. Because loud could also be like ba ba ba, kind of weird. So, just try. Yeah, but your tops are disappearing. Your tops are disappearing. They need to go ti-da-da. I am here. Where are you? So. And then go. Breathe. I'm so sorry. I'm saying breathe. Keep breathing. Breathing is very important, especially in performance. The one thing I would suggest, do you ever practice in slow tempo?
Yeah.
You do? Like a lot? Like every day?
Well, when I'm first learning a piece,
Okay.
maybe I would probably do it every day, or like with a metronome and then turn it up 10 beats every
Oh,
day.
good for you. Wow. I wish my students practice with metronome, but it's great. So the one thing, again, I would suggest, play even hands separately in a slow tempo, but I don't want to say like a detached sound. We call it a little bit like a non-legato. So you really know exactly where your fingers are going on all of those chords and those little gestures. So when you solidify it in slow tempo, keeping in mind the free arm, breathing, when you do it in fast tempo, hopefully it will feel easier to play. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we only learn the piece, awesome, now I can enjoy and just keep going back and forth in fast tempo. Unfortunately, the muscle memory forgets the initial practice. Again, my opinion. All right, well, could you maybe continue? How about we'll measure 27 and relax.
From that part?
Sure, whatever you feel comfortable, somewhere there. Okay. Good. So in this section, this is what measure 32. I'm thinking, what can we do to bring out that top G? So you've got G, then you've got the chord. I'll do no slow tempo because I cannot play this. Right. So it's G. So you see that annoying G keeps reoccurring. So what is it? What is it doing?
Well, I think it's probably, since you have to go to other places with your left hand and can't hold the octave, it's probably kind of providing even though it's like the highest note, it's kind of providing a structure.
Yeah, right, because we are in G minor, so it's like, yes, here's your G note. We'll repeat it several times. But the thing is, the rest of the chords, you might want to try to play them, I guess, maybe quicker staccato, less loud, so you really hear G. So one of the Russian teachers, or I'm sure there are many of them that say the same thing, your fifth finger got to be like a pencil. That's not a really great statement because you can actually hurt yourself, but if it's done correctly, push land on it a little bit more fuller. So don't poke at it that it hurts, but let it sink in a little bit more into the key. Let's see what happens. Sure, whatever you like. Okay, try not to hit it. If you hit it from the top, that's already kind of like, ouch, right? You might want to dip. Dip. Let's just kind of experiment with it a little bit. Yeah, but this is hitting, don't hit. Let me think. So I'm approaching it with my fingers already being on the keys. Dips. Yeah, it looks a little flat. Could you maybe make it a little bit curved? Do you have a pencil anywhere by any chance? I'll show you a little trick.
And after this trick, we want to wrap it up.
Yes, thank you. Doing a great job. Again, just as a suggestion, hold your pencil or pen with the fingertips, the top four fingers laying across, right? And then the thumb underneath it. Yes. So you're kind of spreading them a little bit this way. Let's kind of bring them together. So, close their hand. Yes, that's right. Okay. Now, put a pencil away and bring that hand shape on the keys. So if you want, you could even just hold it, balance it like a little bit, put it down, and then, well, try to make sure that the knuckles are still showing. So we want, the knuckles are kind of like a roof over the house. So if the roof's collapsing, nicht gut, like they say in Germany. Yes, you're kind of spreading your fingers. Can you bring your thumb closer? Here, I'll show you. Yes, like imagine that you are cradling a baby bird. So can you flip your hand this way? Yes, let me know if you cannot see me. I can turn. Yes, awesome. And now flip it upside down and relax. Yes, so bring it and just relax. Don't hold it tight. Yes, your wrist is a bit high. You see? It goes. Drop it and move your arm out, away, your elbow. A little bit. It's kind of hard. Again, just for the time, we probably cannot do all of that, but as a practice, do this a few times so when your arm is landing, let me see if I can explain a little bit better. So pretend this is your other hand. You're kind of going like this. Can you describe this?
It's like...
Can you see it?
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, it's like the wrist is kind of going way too high. So what you want to do is move your arm out a little bit and align it with your fifth finger. So where your elbow, this part, forearm, and your pinky should be like a straight line. Yeah, kind of is getting there. Your thumb is now off the keys. Can you bring your thumb to the keys? You should be resting. Yes. It's getting there. Yes, that's the idea. All right, so just practice it, see if that will be helpful at all. Yes, I guess the one thing I would say, do it several times in slow tempo and just work on your voicing without the pedal. I think that will help clean up the things. And keep breathing, especially in big sections. Okay? Great job. Thank you so much for playing for me today.